Okay, hey guys, welcome to MLS resource training. The purpose of this training class is just to show you what I think you need to know in the MLS. Of course, there are great MLS training classes provided by the MLS, but I like to just show our agents the things that I like to use and maybe some things I don't like to use and where we can how we can set up carts and those kind of things. Okay, so let's just get into it. This is the main screen, obviously for the MLS, and so the majority of what I want to show you is just the basics that you're going to need to know: how to do a search, how to use My Matrix, how you can use some stats if you want, how to add, edit, and add new properties to the MLS, and how you can use the resources tab here to access all the cool things that the MLS offers. All right. So let's just start with the basics and let's look at how to do a search. And there's a couple little tips and quirks I think I can show you here. Let's see if I can move this guy over. All right. So when you first start, I like to always search residential detailed. It's up to you. I'm just showing you what I like to do. I like to use the detailed search so I have everything available to me. Just be aware, sometimes new agents will ask, hey, Aaron, I can't seem to find this property, and then come to find out it's a lot or a piece of land. That's got to be under lots and land, right? Or if it's a multifamily, fourplex, duplex, eightplex, something like that, it's going to be under multifamily. Any commercial will be here as well. If you're not sure, you're like, well, I'm not sure if it's going to be a duplex or a residential. You can always go cross property, and that would search all of the different categories. Okay. So just be aware of that. I know it sounds silly, but I do get a lot of questions about that. And as new agents, you just don't realize there are other categories. So make sure you're searching the correct category as you're looking. Okay. So typically, if I'm doing a search for a buyer, or maybe I'm doing search for comparables for a listing, I'm going to usually try to start out looking as stringently as I can for a listing and as wide as I can for a buyer. And the difference is because for a listing, if I'm trying to find the best comparables, I want to find the best 3 to 5 comparables for that property. But for a buyer, I'm going to be wanting to stay broad so I don't miss something that they may end up really liking. One of the simple tips is just to realize that with all these categories and more that aren't listed on here right now, not every agent is going to correctly identify the property. So you don't want to be too strict when looking for a buyer because you don't want to miss something. Whereas for a seller, I can be as strict as I want, and hopefully I find enough properties. If I don't, then I can always ease off of that and try to find more. Okay. So if I'm looking for a buyer, typically I want to look at just active and coming soons. There may be a time I'm looking at under contract shows and no shows. That's really more if I'm just not finding anything on actives. I want to see maybe what else is out there to show them. I don't like showing buyers under contract properties because why get your hopes up, right? If the property's already off the market or likely to be sold to another buyer, why get their hopes up? But of course, we know that sometimes those do fall apart, so it might not be a bad thing to look at. So I want to start there. Also, always remember this: if you're looking for condos, townhomes, you got to select that. If you're looking for both, you hit Control and you can select both at the same time. All right. So let's start off with single family right there. And let's say our buyer is looking in, I don't know, let's say they're looking in Arden. So you click on the city and you can just start typing in, we're looking in Arden. And maybe they say, Arden Fletcher area. It's kind of a typical thing. People say, I want the Arden or Fletcher area. So I'd click on that and bring that over. Okay. So then, of course, you can search by any other category. A couple of tips in here. If you're looking at bedrooms and they want 3 plus, you can do 3 with a plus sign, and that'll pull in every property that has got 3 bedrooms or more. If you only want 3, if you notice down here in the bottom left, it shows you the number of matches, really helpful. So you know just how many properties are available with your criteria. If we want only 3 bedrooms, just take off that, and you see that eliminated, you know, I don't know, roughly a third of the properties there. So just depends on what you're looking for. Typically, most people wouldn't have a problem with 4 bedrooms if they wanted a 3. So typically, I might do 3 plus, something like that. And then you have your baths. You got total baths, full baths, half baths. So be careful with that. If somebody says we need to have 2 full baths, don't just put 2 in here, because that could be 1 full, 1 half. So just being aware of that. Say I want 2 baths, but then also don't forget your plus sign, because I doubt somebody'd have a problem if it had 3 or 4 bathrooms. So use those plus signs the right way. But of course, if they did want only up to 4 bedrooms, you do just like it says here, 3 to 4, and that would bring only 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms, and that brings in 131 matches. And like we said, if we had 3 plus, it was 147. So there are some that have 5 or more bedrooms in Arden and Fletcher. Okay, so just be aware of those kind of things. Same thing with square footage. Let's see, they want only up to 2,000 square feet, but they don't want anything smaller than 1,500 square feet. You just do that by saying 1,500 to 2,000, like that. Okay, and that brings in 33 matches there. If they say we just want a minimum of 1,500, do a plus sign, and that would give you everything that's 1,500 and above. Of course, you have your year built. You can do the same thing. We want something newer than 1990, or newer than 2000, or less than 2000. Will be a 2000 with a minus, and that brings up everything that was built prior to 2000. Okay, so you got to use those things appropriately for what you're looking to do. All right. So let's say we have this criteria in here, and maybe we know it's on a particular street, which I don't know what street might be available. Let's just look at one here. Okay, Bradley Branch. So we know there's one here on Bradley Branch. So when I use my street name, you can start by just saying, hey, we know the street starts with Brad, but if you notice down here, there's 0 matches. If you use the asterisk, that brings up 3 matches. So the asterisk is used to say something in this property has Brad as the starting name of the street. So if we look at our 3 matches, let's see if they're all Bradley branches. Nope. So we have the one Bradley branch, then we have Bradenton Knoll and Bradenton Knoll. But they all 3 start with Brad. So that's how you can use the asterisk to your help. Okay, and you can also do, I want Brad. We don't know if it's before or after. In this case, it didn't have any other matches, but that would mean maybe something was, I don't know, a Brad, or whatever. So you can put the asterisk before the street name as well, which would be, it's helpful when you're trying to find a property for somebody and just not sure where it is. You can do the same thing with the street number as well. Okay. For buyers, I try to be as broad as I could be. 136 is too many. The big thing we haven't put in here yet is price. Notice that you can check or uncheck the 3 zeros, just meaning if I want to look at $200,000 to $300,000 properties, I can do it like that, and then it is adding 3 zeros. So that's 200,000 to 300,000. Okay, that's what most people do. It's kind of helpful. So let's say we were looking in that general price range. So that gives us 12. So that's a good number then to look at. I try not to get too detailed when searching for buyers, so that way you can hit your results button, and then you still have to use your eyeballs. I mean, computers can only do so much. You have to use your own human intuition and start clicking on them. And generally, from talking with your buyer, you can just easily scroll through and see if you think this is a good fit for your buyer. Maybe this is more of what they're looking for and not that, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the other way around. But by talking with your buyer, and you'll have a good idea of kind of what they're looking at, just by quickly scrolling through these, you can see which ones you like for them and not. So let's say I was buying a house for myself and just using my own criteria of what I would want to live in. I would just want to start going through all of these 12 and selecting up here in the top left-hand corner, selecting the ones that I like and maybe what we'll come back to. So I think I'll pass on that one. I might select that one. I kind of like Covington Crossing. I don't know. I got nothing against that house yet. No, thank you. Right on Sweeten Creek Road. I sold that house years ago as a foreclosure, so I know that house well. Choose not to live there. I don't want an off-frame modular. I know Enoch's Way. I don't want to live there. Wildwood's not bad. Maybe I would choose that one. Hunter's Trace, it's all right. Maybe I'd be interested in that one. Not a huge fan of that area. Livingston Farms, got a few friends that live there. It would be a bad place to live. Locust Court, I know Locust Court well. Nah, it's just not going to fit me. Again, I'm just using my own criteria. So this one here, no thank you. Yeah, this one's not bad. All right, so I'm just using that as an example. So now that I have a few selected, as if I was looking for another buyer, I would hit refine down here in the bottom left. I hit refine and retain the checked. And now we just have the 7. So let's say I wanted 3 homes. I want to pick my favorite 3. I'm going to go out and look at those 3 and buy one of them, like every buyer does, right? not necessarily, but let's say that was the case. I want to find my top 3. So if you noticed, I didn't really look at many pictures or nothing because I just did my first swath to see what would be sort of interesting to me and what might not be. Now I'm going to be a little bit more refined in what I'm looking for here. This one's got 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. I think I've said before, if he doesn't have a half bath, my wife won't go for it. So I'm looking kind of for that half bath. Maybe that would be the criteria for the buyer. And I just scroll through the pictures real quick. I know Covington Crossing. I know that neighborhood. But yeah, this is a house that I'd be happy to live in. So that one I would keep for now. It is at the top of the price range there at $300,000. This one's a 1992. Do a quick. I don't love the curb appeal on it. Okay, the Village. Okay, I got a couple friends that live up there. I know that area. I don't love it, in all honesty. It's fine. I think I'll pass on this one for now. So I'm going to uncheck that one. I'm going to uncheck it because now I'm going back through and trying to find other ones. This one's a 4, 2.5. Wildwood area. Nice cozy house. Again, you're just going to have to use the criteria that your buyer has talked to you about. I like that room. And so I'm just kind of playing the game here and acting as if I'm the buyer. Okay, so, all right, I don't hate that kitchen to living room. Don't love that coming up over. Maybe my buyer doesn't love that. Not a fan of that, but kind of like the wooded subdivision. All right, I'm going to keep that one for now. And again, I'm just trying to show you the way I'd be searching for a buyer here. Doing a quick search through that one. I kind of like that one. I'm just not going to like that one. I'm going to move on from that. Livingston Farms, not bad. It's got the 1-car garage, though. Could be a problem for all my stuff. I'm going to undo that one as well. And Park South. Yeah, no thank you. All right. So now I see it now. I only have my 3. So I'm going to refine again. I'm going to refine my checked again and get to, now I just have my 3 homes that I wanted to go out and see. So I'm going to go out and look and go possibly buy one of them. Okay. So that's essentially how I use this search when I'm looking for a client. Not to get too far into the weeds on that, you can go back to your original results right here in the upper left-hand corner and hit original results. come back to here. We still have our 12, and maybe I forgot, oh yeah, there was an issue about a certain road. So I can click on my map right here, and it will pull up all of my properties and where they are. So just like it shows the ones that we have checked and those that we don't have checked. And so maybe I know that one's Enoch's Way. Yep. So maybe that one I know I don't want to be that far out. Maybe I say I don't want to be on the other side of the river from and the interstate. So maybe I would undo those and just stick to these over here. So you can use the map in a lot of good ways. Maybe I want to say I am interested in other areas. I can use the freehand polygon here, and I can actually draw on the map and say I'm also interested in those areas, but for whatever reason, I don't like living right there at Fletcher, and I like living within that road there. No idea why somebody would say that, but maybe they did. So we can draw like that, and it would just take out anything that's not there. And you can even go a step further by saying, I also, I'm going to zoom in here. I also don't want anything on the back side of the lake because this is where the power plant is. And so like these over here, I don't want to live over there, let's just say. So somebody says, yeah, I don't want to be over there. I can click on that. I can say exclude this shape, just like that. And now when I pull out, I still have everything in the blue, but everything that was in the red is now taken out. It's really cool, right? So that's a very helpful thing for you to be able to use. Okay, let's see here. I want to then, I'm going to go ahead and delete all of my shapes just to make this a little more easy. And I want to, all right, I'm going to go back so I can show this more clearly. I'm going to go back to my criteria. I'm going to clear my criteria out. I want to go back to my map. I'm going to look at my active homes. We'll go back to my map and say, you know what though, more than anything is drive time. So I can use this little drive time feature here. I can click on that and say, I want to be near my office at 802 Fairview Road. Did I spell that right? No, I did not. Fairview Road in Asheville, North Carolina, 28803. And I want to drive there at 8 a.m. And I want to be within a, let's just say, 15-minute drive to the office. All right. I click add. Check this out. It actually pulls up every property that would be within that kind of drive time. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, so that's really helpful if you have clients that like, hey, I really want to be within a half hour of this. We don't really care the city or anything. We just want to be within 15 minutes, a half hour of my work or the airport or something like that. You can just plug in an address there using the drive time feature, and it pulls that up. All right, so really cool, really cool. All right, so let's use this as another example. So obviously that's a whole lot of properties that are active. So we're going to go with, again, our price. Let's say I'm in the 300 to 400 range, something like that. And I need 3+ bedrooms. I need 1,700 plus square feet, something like that. So that pulls up our 18. Okay. So maybe that's the only criteria right now that buyer is looking for. All right. We got our map feature being used, price, bedrooms, heated square footage. And the buyer's like, all right, start sending me anything that fits that criteria that hits the market every day. Okay, fine. So how do we do that? We can hit results. And then we go down here on the bottom left to save. And we can save the search. By saving the search, that means that it'll save it. And you can come back anytime you want to that same exact criteria. So you don't have to redo all the criteria and do a search for them. But the buyer said, no, I'd like you to be emailing me those as, when they come up on the market. So you say, okay, no problem. I can set a new auto email. So you click that there, new auto email. You can create a contact for them, last name, first name, email address, right? For now, I'll just select a random person, random being myself. Um, Normally, if you pick someone else, it'll let you blind copy yourself to it if you want. You set up whatever subject you want, homes to review or whatever you want it to be. This is the email that goes out showing your client about the portal, and then the recurring email that says, hey, one or more new listings has hit your search criteria. And so you can use that as well. And then you come down here and you can hit the when do you want the buyer to see these? So do you want it to come out monthly? This would be for somebody that may or may not buy in Asheville and just kind of wants the taste of the market every month. Um, Somebody that might buy in 2 years, 5 years, something like that. That'd probably be more appropriate for them. And just say, hey, how about I send you a monthly email to stay in touch and to show you what the market's doing for that criteria that you were looking for. And they might say, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fine. So that'd be something more like that. The typical one you're going to use is like a daily email. And this is really cool. You guys should be talking about this in your buyer consultations with your buyers and just showing them, hey, all the options we have. Do you prefer to get your emails in the morning or the afternoon or the evening? Do you prefer to get them Monday through Friday and not Saturday and Sunday? If so, you can do that, right? You prefer to get them Sunday, Monday, but not Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like whatever, right? So whatever you choose to do. That's typical because that'll go out every day or every day that you have checked at those times. So if that's the way you want to do it, and that is typical for a normal search, great. The third option is ASAP. And I would not recommend using ASAP unless that you have a buyer that is looking for a particular area, particular house that's not on the market right now, and as soon as something does hit, you want to know about it. So that's what ASAP would be used for. So we were looking at like that Livingston Farms before. If they wanted to see every new home that came in Livingston Farms because that's where they wanted to buy, that'd be a good use of ASAP. But you don't want to use that for a wide criteria because they will get an email for every single new property that hits the market. So if there's 10 new properties today that fit their criteria, they're going to get 10 different emails. So not people don't like that, right? So don't use it unless it's something very specific for a certain area, certain somebody who's ready to buy right now. That's when you would use ASAP. Okay, so it's very helpful though if you're searching for somebody and you want to know about it right away. Okay, so this is how you get them away from Zillow and Realtor.com and all those other websites. You get them away from that by feeding them better information through here because this is better and faster than even what Zillow can give them. Okay, so that's how you use the My Matrix. Now let's say we save that. Just hit save right here. Yeah, we can do that. It's fine. Or hit save because that's going to myself, so that's fine. You can hit save there, right? But now you say, all right, the client called me back and they want to change some criteria. They don't want anything under 350,000, let's say. So now we can go to My Matrix and look at saved searches and auto emails. In this case, it was an auto email, so we can click that. It should be up in here now. Where did I do that? Did I do that today? Yeah. Okay, the one that I've never opened. Okay, so all of your auto emails are in here. You can hit homes to review and you can come right back in here and change whatever you want. You want to change the criteria and come in here and change it from 350 to 400, something like that, and hit save again. And now that search is now changed. Okay, so just like that, we hit save again right there. Okay, now let's go back in. I'm going to go here and I would like to delete that auto email because I don't want to get a million emails, so I'm going to delete that. There we go. So that's all you need to know about My Matrix, how to use that, and some of the search criteria buttons right there. Okay, let's look really quick at how to add edit. Add edit feature is for your listings. So as the managing broker, I see everybody's listings within the office. but you would just see your own name. So if there was a listing that you needed to edit, you could just come in here and click your own name and see whatever listings you wanted to edit. If you wanted to add a new one, click Add New and say this is going to be a single family home. We click this here. It starts with this option where you can fill from another property or fill from a realist tax. I don't like doing that. I just don't. It lends the opportunity for you to screw up and put some wrong information in there. So I would like you to start with the blank listing, just like that. And then you have all of these different tabs. So here's a key. All right. This is the thing that just kills new agents. So if you go through this, you go tab by tab. You can fill in whatever you want on the tabs, but before you exit the system, you have to make sure the status is on incomplete, and you have to hit submit. Submit means save. All right, so submit equals save. If you don't hit submit, it will not save it. And unfortunately, there are people that go through and spend an hour getting a listing in and then don't hit submit because they're like, well, I don't want it to go live on the market. But by not hitting submit, it doesn't save it. As long as you put the status as incomplete, it's not going to go live. Okay, it's just not. Now, here's the cool thing too. You don't really have to worry too much about it because even if we said active, I haven't put anything in here and I hit submit, it's not going to let me do it. It brings up all of these error alerts and says, hey, dude, you need to fill in some information, please. So you don't really have to worry much about that. You can always hit incomplete and hit submit listing at that point. Okay. Again, I mean, the tabs are relatively easy, but a couple little tricks in here. I mean, you just fill in the information as you have it. Anytime you see this little blue button here, it says autofill street name, autofill subdivision field, you cannot put in the street name. It won't work. It won't save that way. Okay, you can't do it. You have to go to street name, click on the button there, search here, and say we want to search for Crestwood. All right, so there's Crestwood, and hit OK. We hit OK, and then we have to hit run search and then fill. So now Crestwood is filled. Why? I don't really know. Okay, I don't really know, but that's the way the system's set up. So you have to use the little blue button to fill it that way. You can't just type it in there. I don't really understand why, but it is what it is. Okay. If you don't see your street name, this is something that comes up every once in a while. If you've got a property that's kind of way out in the middle of nowhere, nobody's ever listed a property with that street name. It's not a big deal. All right. If you don't see the street name up here, oh, also I should say this, don't fill in the street type. Don't do that. Again, why? I don't know. I don't know, but just don't do it. It doesn't work. Use the little search button, type in Crestwood. Don't put drive. Don't put Crestwood Drive here. Don't put drive here. Just put Crestwood, run search, and load it that way. Okay. But if the street name doesn't come up, then it's not a big deal. Just email support@carolinahome.com right here at the bottom of the page, support@carolinahome.com. Email them and said, I need new road name, and just put the road name in there and they will add it. And they are very good at that, even on the weekends. It just takes 30 minutes, an hour maybe, and they have it loaded for you. So they are really good at the quick turnaround on that. Okay. So if you don't see that in there, that's how you handle that. All right. The map, to use the map, if you know latitude and longitude for it, good on you. I'm not. I was never a navigator in the military. I'm not good at that. So latitude, longitude. If you know how to do that, good for you. But for me, I'm going to use the manual map. In this case, because we hadn't really put in a property yet, it doesn't really know where to search, right? So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in just a little bit. I guess in there. Let's see, Arden. All right, we want to locate the property through that. All right, So it's giving me the general area here. Now I happen to know, just as you will know because you're going to your properties beforehand. This is the house that I'm talking about. It's a house I used to live in years ago. So I would click on that there and it pulls it up, right? So that's just how simple it is to locate that and then hit done and you're good to go. Now the map actually shows where the house is, okay? So that's how you do that. Again, the rest of this stuff's pretty easy. Just fill in the blank on some things. One thing, I guess, on property information that comes up a bit, if you say you just have 1,500 square feet on the main level, you can put that there. But then there's nothing on the other levels. You have to put zeros in here, okay? It won't let you save it if you don't. I mean, it will let you save it as incomplete, but it won't let you save it as active. So it's just, you'll get alerted to it, but not a big deal, but just so you know. Okay. Not everything here is required. So again, if you're wondering if it's required or not, you'll find out when you hit submit. But most of the stuff, of course, like acreage, year built, square footage, those sort of things, we are going to be required. All right. But if you hit new construction, no, the rest of this isn't required. Okay. Same thing with HOA. No HOA, then this isn't required. Okay. The rooms, a little bit of a quirk there. You do have to fill in all of this. So you say it's a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, 1 half bath house. And this is on the main level. There are all 3 bedrooms there, all 2 bathrooms, but maybe there's no half bath there, and you can fill in whatever rooms are there, right? But then there's another level. Maybe the room level is the basement, and there's no bedrooms in the basement, no full baths, but the half bath is in the basement, right? I'm just making it up, but that's how you fill that stuff out, okay? Features, go through this list in detail and click off everything that is true about your property. The remarks section, your public remarks, that's what the public will see. Agent remarks is only what agents will see. And company remarks is only remarks that agents within the company would see, okay? So public is everybody, agent is just real estate agents, directions, of course, is everybody and directions. And then company remarks is only stuff that the company would see. Usually syndication remarks would be the same as public remarks, but if for some reason you wanted them to be different, because that's the stuff that gets syndicated, goes out to other websites, other places. So maybe if you wanted to do that, you could have your syndication remarks look different than the public. All right, so that's a quick overview of add edit button. The last things I want to go through with you are on the resources. There's a lot of cool resources in here. You should be clicking this tab often. Let's just go through a couple of these. Number 1 is payments and services. So that's where you make your MLS payments. So you can very easily just click that and go through and make your MLS payments. Okay. And the other stuff is down here. The ones that I use a lot, going all the way to the bottom, is your tax GIS sites. Just makes it really easy. So you don't have to search for each county. They're all right here. So you say, all right, I need Haywood County GIS. Boom. Just that simple. It's just a quick link over. Okay. So pretty cool that way. There is the Haywood County GIS. Okay. So I do like using that from time to time. And that's right here at the very bottom. The other tools here are Showing Time, the SAM tool, and RPR and Realist. All right, so these are some sites that we'll go over here just in a second and show you how to use those. So Realist, of course, that's our tax search. If you hit the tax button on the MLS sheets, it'll pull you to the site. But maybe you want to do a little bit of research, get the tax records. You can use Realist, and it'll start up right here. That does take a minute to start up usually, so I'm going to go ahead as that's going, show you Showing Time. So you can click Showing Time, and this is how you can do all of your updates on things. I guess it wants me to log back in. Do that. and so it shows you everything in showing time here. Okay, so this is a cool way to look up the showings that you have coming on our listings, on my listings, showings I have requested, or I want to make a new request. You can do that all from right here. You can also look up your listings. You can view and change. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. View and change a listing. And coming as a manager, again, I'm seeing everybody, so you should just be seeing yourself. But I want to come in here and make a change to a property. I could click on this one here and make whatever changes we'd like to make. We want to change this to appointment required, emails, texts, whoever's getting notified, all that good stuff. You can make all your changes in here. Okay. So we can walk you through this in more details on how to do restrictions and exceptions when you need that, but it's relatively self-explanatory. Just kind of come in here, read the tabs, see what you want to do. Okay, so that's the showing time app really quick. Realist looks like it's loaded. So with Realist, it's very cool. You can change the county. If you want to search multiple counties, that's fine. You just hit change county. You can select whatever counties you want to work with. Let's go with just Buncombe County. You can search by owner name. This is what I will typically do if I'm going out to a listing appointment and I can't find the property on the MLS. It wasn't listed in the past, but I want to just get some basic information about the people. I can do a quick search. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a name. So we can search by last name. And we can look at all properties that are owned by someone. I try to pick a name that I know is not super common. And so you want to search by that. You can see, all right, so I was looking for Peter Knipe. Okay, so Peter owns this property over here at 8 Mallory Meadows. And so I could click on that and pull up the full report in Realist. Everything here is public record. So really anybody can be searching for this stuff. So Madison may know these folks a little bit, but they're friends of mine and sister to Madison. But you can see everything you need to see about them on their property right here. Okay, so that's Realist, a really cool system. You should get into that. There's some good training that the MLS people have on just using Realist, so I'd recommend using that as well. The other button is the SAM tool I like to use. SAM tool stands for Statistical Analysis Module. And this is really super cool, super easy to use. I highly recommend using this to make your point to buyers and sellers. You can click on single family homes, and I want to look in Buncombe County. And then I want to add another criteria and say I want to look at how Swannanoa compares the city single family homes compares to all of Buncombe County, and let's look at median sales price. So right now, Swannanoa is at 240, Buncombe County is 316. Price per square foot, same thing. We can see what that looks like. We can look at the month supply, and we're looking at 3 years out and a rolling 12 months. So let's say we want to do that. We want to look at a bar graph. Well, there you go. There's a bar graph. You can play with this and do some amazing, cool things. We'll look at days on market, the median, the average. If you're a stat junkie, you could have a lot of fun with this. But what I like to tell our agents on using SAM tool is you should pull the stats and the data that work for the point you're trying to make to the buyer and seller. And I kind of joke around by saying, it's like playing CNN with it. And what I mean is you're only showing on the information that you want them to see. So, just you could say playing Fox News with it. They're both the same, in my opinion. So, just showing them information that only supports their point of view and not the data that may point to something else. So, if you're trying to make a point, let's say, I don't know, let's look at, price per square foot, let's say. And we're trying to make the point to them that even though the county price per square foot is 186, but their house is in Swannanoa, we'd want to use this graph to show them, see the difference. I mean, there's a difference between Swannanoa and just Buncombe County, and that's looking at the median. And you might also show them the average, which shows them similar numbers, a little bit higher. But you might want to show them that. But let's just say, for some reason, the average changed where that was much higher, but the median was lower. Well, then my point is just simply that I would just show them the median because that is probably the more accurate statistic anyway. So use the same tool to make the point that you want to make to your buyers and sellers. Okay? Really fun system, super easy. You can just play with it. Just make sure you're using single family or townhomes or lots if you're looking for lots. But obviously, this is very, very different if we look at the month's supply, for instance, on um, single family homes. We're at a 3.3. If we add the lots into that, they're at a 13 and a 29, right? So very, very different numbers. So make sure you're using you have the right things clicked on the SAM tool. Okay. All right. Now, last little thing that I like people using is a realtor's property resource. This is a cool little system. There's a lot of little quirks and stuff in here as well. There's some good training you could take on using this system if you'd like. But the thing I like to use it for is helping to get helping to just get some cool seller stats for our pricing packet. So let's say we're doing a pricing packet on, let's just use that 40 Crestwood Drive again. And I wanted to do a pricing packet for that. Now I'm going to warn you right now, do not use the pricing that this comes out with. It's no different than a Zestimate or anything like that. So don't use the numbers on this. Just use it as a source to get some cool data. So let's say we want to get a seller's report, and I have checked off already that I don't like using their market activity stuff, but I like some of these other little stats. So to do that, you just hit the run report, and that'll take just a second, and we'll pull up a seller report, which I'll show you in just a minute. So while that's loading, it does take a minute or two. While that's loading, I want to talk to you real quick about the MLS again. What I just showed you is pretty much everything that I use the MLS for. The only other thing I use it for sometimes is looking at market reports. You can go in here and you can do a search for what an agent or an office or whatever is doing in the market. Sometimes I use that. It's helpful as a manager to see that sometimes. Looking at statistics, I don't know, not super helpful as an agent. There's not a whole lot there to see. I don't like using the rest of this. I'm just telling you, all right? You can use the public records for the realist, a quick way to find those. I'm just used to going to resources. I do not like you using the CMA in the MLS. I don't like you doing it. And here's why. Number one, it's not that freaking accurate. Okay. So if it's not going to be accurate, then we shouldn't be using it. And it's lazy. All right. It's also what most other agents are doing. They're using just the CMA tool in the MLS, and they're going out with that information when they're pricing homes. Even if it is accurate, it's still lazy. So we want to be doing our PTAs, and we want to be using the information. And the reason why I don't think it's that accurate, especially for Western North Carolina, is because it doesn't understand the value of a view, or what, 2 acres of land could be very, very valuable land, or it could be worthless depending on the slope and where it is and how many trees are on it, all those things that you still need your brain to kind of figure out. So I don't like using that. So I've said my piece on that. I don't like using the CMA in the MLS. If you want to use it as another source to get more information to help them price the home, I don't really have a problem with that, I suppose. But make sure you are doing your PTA, and you're doing the actual search for the comparables yourself. Okay? Let's see if our report is up. It is. It's got the report. It gives you a nice little ding dong there. We can pull up the report here and show you what that looks like. Again, this is how it prints out. It has some flaws where it just has some random information in here. I don't know why you need my fax number at all, but especially why you need it twice. So what I like to do, and some of you know, I've done it for our agents. You can download this right here. Just download it to your computer, and then once you have it, you can easily edit with a PDF editor. You can edit the screen here. Okay. But what I do like to use it for is these home facts, extended home facts. It's got some of the photos in there, but it shows you these cool graphs of median estimated home value, kind of where it's gone. Um, Actually, this is missing some data, but that's okay. Market activity, it's just kind of a cool graph, shows you where the market activity has been. Sellers report, all kinds of cool data. So I like using all of this to put into my pricing packet um, with my PTA, some SAM tool graphs, all of my comparables that I've used. It's just some cool looking data to throw in there. So that's primarily what I use RPR for. Okay, but there are some other cool features when using RPR if you want to play around and take a class on it. There's some other cool features in there as well. All right. So, like I said, that's what I use the MLS for, how I use it. There's a couple little tricks, couple little quirks in there. Hopefully you learned a few things and found it helpful. But don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. You don't have to know and work with every single tool that's in the MLS. You just basically need to know how to do your searches correctly, how to make sure you're not missing properties for buyers and seller comparables, and how to get to your other third-party sites like Showing Time and RPR and SAM tool and those kind of things. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful, and thanks for joining me here from my basement as I do the class here on Tuesday. Yep, have a great day. Thanks.